Finished training for the day? Time to fight post-workout fatigue with Core Power Protein Shakes. They're packed with 26 grams of high-quality protein to build muscle and electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to help your body replenish, rebuild, and repair post-workout so you can power on to the next one. Champion your recovery with Core Power. Visit corepower.com to learn more.
Big news. Sephora is now on Uber Eats. So if you find yourself facing a beauty emergency, like needing a last-minute gift, or you're just out of your favorite mascara, again, don't panic. We got you. Order now and get $10 off on Sephora orders of $50 or more on the Uber Eats app. Order now. Offer ends October 30th. One order per customer. Additional terms apply. See app for availability. Delivery fees may apply.
You can trust when you come and you speak to somebody on my team that it's more important that you determine and we determine that this is right for you than it is you just want to own a business and we want to get you a license for a Garage Experts franchise.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the latest edition of FranCoach's Franchising 101 podcast. I am Tim Parmeter, founder and CEO of FranCoach and your podcast host. Today, we welcome in a franchise partner to talk about their brand. This is a great home service brand, multiple offerings, controlling the supply chain start to finish, which makes for great efficiency and profitability for their franchise owners, and an amazing culture within their brand. Excited to chat about them today. That's coming up in a moment. First, quick reminder of who we are. FranCoach is the premier franchise consulting firm. As always, folks, there is nothing about what we were doing that is trying to sell you anything. Everything for FranCoach is designed to help get you properly educated on franchise ownership to determine if you should own one, and then if so, what is the absolute best one for you to own. There's no such thing as a best franchise or hottest industry. This is an incredibly individualized and personalized process. It's all about you, and that's what our FranCoach team is here to help with. That's us. Now, what do you say? Let's get to our guest and learn about one of our amazing franchise partners. All right, we are back, and joining us today is one of our great franchise partners, Garage Experts, and we're going to talk to the president of franchising, the one, the only, Mr. Mike Mushinski. Mike, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Tim. How about yourself? Thanks for having me.
Living the dream here, and excited to chat with you. We've got I hope you're ready. We got a whole bunch of stuff to go through. And before we came on air, I told you a big lie. I said, this is really easy. I lob questions in here. My goal is to get people in tears at some point. So buckle up.
I will do my best to live up to your expectations. I will do my best.
Perfect. And again, I told you this also. The goal of this episode is for this to become one of our top 300 episodes of all time. And as it will be episode 265, I think we got a good shot.
I will clearly live up to that expectation
for at least the next, however many months that is. So
for sure.
Bunch of questions about Garage Experts. You've been in franchising a long time. You know, this is a people business. Always like hearing stories. So give us the Mike scoop on you and kind of how you got into this crazy world.
Yeah, I know these are some of my favorite things too, because I like to hear how everybody got in, and you know, once you're in, it's like you can't get out. I think that's the normal description of this. So I started as a franchisee. I've owned 2 franchises. We're going back many years ago in my 20s. I started off as a franchisee, not in this business or this industry. I owned a retail franchise, and then I owned a commercial printing franchise. Sold both of those, did fairly well in both of those. And then I had the great moment of saying, okay, what do I want to do when I grow up? Do I want to buy another franchise? Do I want to do, just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I looked at different businesses and different opportunities, franchise, non-franchise, and nothing really spoke to me. And then an opportunity fell in my lap to jump over to the franchisor side of franchising. And I'm like, well, let's go see what that's all about. And we're sitting here together now. I mean, so that was, again, this all started over 20 years ago. So this has been a long run for me. almost all my time on the corporate side, or I call it the home office, whatever.
Yeah.
But the franchisor side of things has been almost all in home services. And I've been lucky enough to work for large platform companies and had some great mentors in places like that, and just some little small founder run startups. And so I've sort of run across all these different pieces of franchising, but it started as a franchisee, and it shaped, it's probably the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because it shaped who I am as a leader. It shapes how I interact with franchisees. It shapes who I look for when I build my teams, because I can have a real conversation with a candidate and say, I've been there. Right. I've been there up at night when more money is leaving the bank account than's coming in, because it happens. It's not, these aren't ATM machines. You know this. You don't open up and start printing money, because if you did, we would have 1,000 locations at this point.
Right.
So,
Yes.
But I've been there, right? I've lost sleep, and I've been stressed, and I've gone through it all. I've been on the other end of the phone calls. So it really has shaped sort of my philosophy about franchising. It's been awesome. It's been a wild ride, but I wouldn't change it for anything.
So go into the Wayback Machine, and even for you at the beginning, becoming a franchisee for that first time. What got you even thinking about that at a pretty young age? So
in my early 20s, I sort of cut my teeth in retail. I was in retail management, and I was running a business. And I was actually lucky enough to be a part of one that actually shared the P&L of my business with me. And I started seeing all of the money that was flowing to the bottom line, looking at my paycheck stub and going, wait a minute, something doesn't add up here. And the company that I was running a store for was a blended corporate and hybrid franchise model as well. So they had franchisees, they had corporate stores. I then got recruited to work corporately for them, and I was doing a lot of traveling and training. I was training and working with district managers and whatever else, and I got to meet some of the franchisees, got to talk to them, and I saw how much happier they were and how much more freedom they had. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I was single, I had no kids, I wasn't married, I had, what did I have to lose at that point?
Right.
And so it was that epiphany that I sort of had and said, okay, I've got to find a way to do this. I've got to beg, borrow, steal, took way too much debt in an SBA loan than I ever should have. And I did it with a business partner. That's the only way I could have done it. But it was amazing, but it all came from looking at the financials of the business and then comparing that to my paycheck and going, I think I'm smart enough to figure this out. And it turned out I was, maybe it was a little bit of luck. It probably was a lot of luck. But that was the moment, I just realized that these people were happier than I was. They had a lifestyle that I didn't have. And they made a lot more money than I was making.
Yes. Absolutely. No, I love that. And I'm sure that experience, again, like you said, just plays throughout everybody you're talking to, kind of throughout inside your franchise system, and then certainly the candidates that you're talking to. So sure. Love that. So let's go into garage experts, and definitely want to talk about like owner and staff and support and all of those things, but let's be really simple. What the heck is garage experts? I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I'm going to say the business focuses on a garage. And you're experts at doing something in the garage. What's the something?
It's actually living rooms, but no, I'm kidding. It is the garage space. It is everything floor coatings and storage. So think custom cabinets, floor coatings, epoxies, polyaspartics, all the fancy metallics, slat wall, handy wall solutions, just really the whole scope, everything except for the door, basically. We don't do garage door repair and installation, but coatings, cabinets, and the unique thing, there's a lot of businesses and a lot of franchises out there that do what we do or some of parts of what we do. But the best part about, I think, the best part about us is we also own, through a sister company, the entire manufacturing process. And when I say that, it is the complete chemical manufacturing of the epoxies, of the polyaspartics. So everything's distributed out through us. We own all of that. We're not buying it from a third party and acting as a middleman. We actually formulate and make everything. We have chemists on staff that come up with these formulas. And on top of that, we also custom manufacture our own cabinets. So it's not cookie cutter, go to Home Depot, Lowe's. This is the setup you have to have. You get one pantry and one, desk. If somebody has a weird slanted roof or somebody has something that has to be built around, we have software where we can design around that and deliver, well over 15 different color combinations, handles and channel pulls, but we can truly customize the installation to fit really anything somebody has in their garage. And we manufacture all of those as well. So it truly is a one-stop shop. There's no middleman, which obviously helps our franchisees be more profitable.
Yeah, profitable. And then again, here's you got option A, B, or C versus like, what do you need? So it gives that customer a much better experience with that too. And I always like, in fact, got the website up as I'm kind of scrolling through some of the pictures, and I'm also envisioning my garage and thinking what a great before picture that would be, because it doesn't look like anything like this. And it's I'm sure this is part of the business model too, is most of us, the garage is kind of the way we get in and out of our house. And I am relatively embarrassed when I leave my garage door open, even if it's like taking my kid to school, because mine's a mess, right? And so the customer is people that don't want to be embarrassed, that want to be out there more, want to be able to kind of show it off, because it's how, I'm guessing pretty much all of us, it's how we get in and out of our house every time we go in and out, right?
It is, and with the floor coatings, it's significantly easier to keep clean. I had the floor installed in my garage. One of the perks, I guess. And I have some really beautiful cabinets and slat wall in my garage too. But it is, you literally just sweep it out. I get fewer spiders in my garage, and don't even ask. Like, maybe the webs can't attach to it as well. I have no idea what the science behind that is, but it's just cleaner because of that. But when you can get everything off the floor, it just looks better. And, just the industry itself, look, we're not plumbing. Not everybody has to do garage floors. Not everybody has to do garage cabinets. But more people are investing more money in their homes now than they ever have. This goes way back to COVID days and all through that. But they started on the inside of the house, and now they're investing more and more money. Garages, backyards, man caves, just depends on what part of the country you're in. People are actually repurposing the garage. We have people looking to do, workout rooms in part of their garage. And the options really, they're unlimited. You want a custom area to store your golf clubs, your ski equipment, or whatever else, we'll design that for you. So it's been good.
I think more and more garages are not where the cars are parked. Right. Sure. Like it's and there's probably a little bit from a COVID standpoint or in the remnants of that of, yes, there's the back to offices, but there's also there's a good chunk of us folks that get to work from home and just my garage here, and then my Danielle's garage in Florida, the car doesn't even go in there anymore, right? There's stuff, there's workout stuff, there's all of those things. And so, and again, you're talking about people don't have to have it, but when they want that, I'm going to guess you got some happy customers that are like, whoa, this was a disaster before. This is amazing. Whether it's just simply functional, it looks better, more organized, all of those things.
Yeah, the before and after is shocking. Even when they put their stuff back in, it's neater, it's more organized, it's behind closed doors, it's off the ground on overhead racks. It just looks neater. They can actually keep the same amount of stuff in their garage and put a car in there if they wanted to. Yeah. There's that piece of it. And then there's the keeping up with the Joneses aspect of what we do. It's like the businesses that build outdoor living areas and outdoor patios. Well, the neighbor sees that and goes, well, I want that, and then they see the garage, they come over and they're looking around, and we've got a trailer parked or a box truck with a lift gate shows up, and they're unloading all this stuff into the garage, and people are looking around going, what's going on over there, and then all of a sudden, well, John got it done. Well, now Scott's got to get it done, and Stacy down the road's got to get it done. So it's a snowball effect for sure.
Yes, very well. And then those are the people. There's a guy a couple houses down. His garage is amazing, right? Mm-hmm. His garage door is never shut either, right? So it's like and I don't blame him. Like, it's why mine is always shut and why his is always open based on those differences. So, okay, so we got all of those different things, and I love the customizable piece of this from that customer standpoint. But now let's talk about owning one of these suckers. So, and really like to focus on the owner role, things they do, things they don't. This big misconception in franchising. Well, if I'm going to own Garage Experts, I better be really handy and be able to do all of this work. Let's just start there with that one. Is that needed for you guys?
No, it's not. It's not discouraged, obviously. But at the end of the day, Tim, it's not the most important thing, right? I think we've talked before. I don't need you to love epoxy and polyaspartic coatings and cabinetry and woodworking and things like that to own this business. I want you to love the idea of exceeding customers' expectations, transforming spaces, and running a profitable business that can quite literally transform your life. So do I encourage and do we encourage our franchisees to get their hands dirty and roll their sleeves up really early on? Yeah, I think that makes them a better leader, a better boss, a better franchise owner when they truly understand it. We teach them, and we do 8 days of training. We've got a warehouse where we manufacture everything. We take all the others. They're going to do a floor. They're going to hang cabinets. They're going to assemble cabinets. They're going to do all that to get a base level knowledge. But I tell everybody who goes into this business that if I look back in 30 days from now or 45 days from now, you're still living in the garage and you're throwing flakes up in the air and, putting polyaspartics down and hanging cabinets, like, that's not the best use of your time. I want you to go out in the community and network and meet real estate agents, property managements, and general contractors, and all those referral partners that you need. I mean, that's what I want my franchisees focusing on, is leading their team, building culture, selling. If you're in this 40, 50, 60 hours a week, however hard you're going to work, I want you out there shaking hands and kissing babies. And that sometimes means you're at the customer's home doing the sales. Sometimes that means you're out networking in the community. I just want you to be known as the garage guy or gal or woman or however you want to say that these days. But that's who I want you to be. So is it important to know what we do and how we do it? Sure. That makes you a better salesperson. It makes you a better leader. Your team respects you and all that. But I don't want you living in the garage.
Yeah. No, it's good because I'm the least handy person on the planet. Doesn't mean I couldn't own Garage Experts and being able to learn how to do it. But again, I'm not the physical garage expert out there all day, every day. Like you said, you got to be out. Actually, your job is to run the business and do that. So, and I think for most people that we talk to, and I'm sure you do too, there's a certain element of, it's also part of the fun of learning something new. And I've got there's a physician right now, and we're looking at franchises. And one of the first things he said, and he said it a couple of times, is like, I want to learn something new. Like, I've done this, awesome. I'm done with this, right? And so, because it's just an opportunity. It's the beauty of franchising, is it allows you to kind of redirect your path. Because when you get in the corporate world, you're going to get pigeonholed pretty fast, and so you're just like stuck with whatever you're doing versus creating something. So that's cool from an owner standpoint. Talk about what we start with from a staff perspective. How many people are we hiring? Who are we hiring? What does that kind of look like?
That's the beauty of this. Not very many. We have a call center that takes calls 24/7, 365. They have the ability to schedule all the estimate appointments, the project evaluations, as we call them. They can schedule all the appointments for you. So if you're in this business and you're going to be the salesperson, the face of the business, it's networking, selling to the customers, you're really looking at one install crew, which is sort of a lead installer and a helper. And that's really all you need to start. I would hope that you would scale quickly. I need a second. Most of our cabinet installs, some of our guys early on will subcontract out that work until they have enough cabinet business to justify hiring a full team. But we're almost exclusively W-2. We don't do a bunch of 1099 stuff. other than maybe some cabinet stuff early on. So it's not a huge team, and it's one of the attractive things about this, because we own manufacturing, you don't have to buy a lot of inventory either. On liquids, if you order it by 1:00 Central Time, it ships the same day. So you could sell your first job on Monday and install it on Thursday or Friday of that same week without ever having to buy inventory until the customer paid you a deposit on the job. So.
Gotcha. So when we think of then, I want to come back to kind of some of the equipment and stuff, but what do we need from a location? Obviously with that, as you explain that, I'm not looking at like, oh my gosh, I got to get this big warehouse that's, thousands of square feet to store all the stuff. Do we need anything? What does that look like office wise?
Yeah, we prefer that you operate out of like a mixed use, like commercial space. So just think roll up door to be able to take delivery of a pallet of cabinets or what have you, or a pallet of liquids, and it'll probably have one. We've all seen them, right? It's where the little small plumbing shops work out of. It's got one little office and then a roll up door, right. 1,000 square feet, 800 square feet, 1,200, somewhere in there. Right. Lower rents. It's not retail. The customers are not coming to your place of business to look at a giant showroom. Although I will say, we do have a few owners that have grown and built their business to a point where they actually have a showroom that cool. Customers can come to them and see all the cabinet color samples, different floor samples, and they can make their decisions there, almost like a design studio. If you've ever built a new home where you walk inside and see all the options, we have had some that have scaled and grown to that. It's certainly not required. We have what's called a garage makeover box, and you're literally walking into a customer's home and opening up. It's wood samples of every color of cabinet we carry, and fan decks with all the different floor designs and types of styles you could have. So it's not needed. It's certainly not an expense I would encourage anybody to take on right out of the gate.
No, but nice if you've built your business up to the point where you can do that, right? So
absolutely.
Got it. So we've got a little small space, a couple kind of your installing crew to begin with. Owner, typically the one that's out face of the business, doing those kind of estimates. Back to the owner for a second. Are you guys open to anybody ever being semi-absentee? Is that a thing within Garage Experts?
Sure. At the end of the day, if you hire a salesperson to take that role that's out there running all the sales calls, and it's a weird word, right? Semi-involved, semi-absentee. I don't think we're open to fully absentee. I want you to have at least some time to focus on the business. And that doesn't mean 2 days a week, 16, 20 hours a week where you only work 3 days in another job. But I want you to be involved, because anybody you hire is not going to be able to build culture and lead like you would lead. They're not going to care as much as you care. But the simple answer is, sure, you hire somebody to fill that role. It's just going to cost you a little bit more on the front end. And candidly, it's probably going to grow a little bit slower, just because, again, they're not going to grow. But can you do it? Absolutely. I mean, we have guys operating right now semi-absentee. They might not have started that way. They got to that point, but they could have easily started that way. They could have just had more capital on the front end and hired a full-time GM, salesperson, operating partner, or whatever language we want to use for that. And you're off to the races. We have a great support team at the home office that our ratio of support people to franchisee is about the most incredible thing I've ever seen. So I think people would be thrilled and thrive in it.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least that was the plan. Except now the dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Got it. Love it. And then I think the other thing about semi-absentee. And as you know, if we ask 10 different people in the industry to define that, you're going to get like, I don't know, 26 different answers of it. And if anybody tells you there's a franchise out there where you don't have to do anything, run really fast the other direction from them because they're full of crap.
Absolutely.
And so I'll say that. I know you may not want to, but the other thing on that, like, hey, you got to hire that manager that's running the day-to-day. We'll get all people that kind of start off think, I don't know if I'm ready to quit my job yet, and it feels scary. And then they get to the end, I'm like, when the hell am I paying a manager, right? Like, I'd rather just almost like pay myself that. Because again, I'm going to trust myself to go do it. And then the other piece is like the fun. They probably don't really love their job. Otherwise, we wouldn't be speaking to them, right? And like, well, I don't want somebody else to have the fun of building my business. The heck with that. I want to get in there and do it, right?
Tim, I have these very, very same conversations with people, like exactly what you just said. And it's, if you have the capital to do this, and let's just say you're going to bring an extra $100,000 to the table, because it's going to cost you $100,000 to pay that guy for the first year.
Right.
And you can survive for the next year or so on $100,000 of income, cover your expenses. Maybe you have a spouse that works and they're bringing in some money, or maybe you don't, and that's all you need to cover your expenses. Why wouldn't you just pay yourself $100,000 to run this business? I mean, I know. I don't understand, right? But you know what? There's comfort in the uncertainty and the unknown.
Sometimes, right? And then there's at least 2 podcasts I've done in the past. So if I'm going to say this really quickly, and if somebody's like, wait, what the hell is he talking about? There's something out there. But there's always the people who are going to go, I make $150,000 on my job. I have to replace that. Well, no, you don't. You don't make that. That's the salary. What you take home is 105 after taxes, and then you're paying for your vehicle and all the expenses there, and your cell phone and the internet in your house and the shirt you're wearing. All those come out of your business now. So if somebody's out there going, man, he's talking about $100,000. Like, dude, I promise you don't make that much money that you can't do the math to make that work for this. So that's a little sidebar. And when we edit this, I'll even put the episode in there for you folks to go listen to that one. So but part of that too is we talk about the staff of an office. We don't really need big inventory because you guys are all manufacturing everything yourself. You got your installers or craftsmen, technicians, whatever we're calling them. Sorry. They're in a nice, pretty wrapped vehicle. They're not driving around in some beat up old, 1982 yellow Ford pickup. And people don't realize how much of a difference that kind of the branding aspects of that makes. Talk a little bit about kind of what that looks like, how you help with them, and just what you've seen over the years of that rolling billboard that is that wrapped vehicle.
Yeah, that's exactly what I call it, as a rolling billboard. It is one of the, not only rolling down the street, but when it's parked in front of somebody's house.
Yeah.
All the neighbors are going by. The moms or dads are leaving to pick the kids up from school or take the kids to school in the morning, and it's just sitting there. It's why you put a yard sign in front of the yard too when you're working there. So,
yes.
But it's huge, right? And we have a lot of flexibility in the type of vehicle that folks can get. We partner with a national company that basically they will drop a vehicle off in your driveway, fully wrapped, upfitted, everything. So you don't have to go out and shop for vehicles and go find somebody to install the wrap or whatever. But you could have pickup truck and trailer. You could have box truck with liftgate. You could have even a really long, pretty extended van, not like a little Sprinter van, like a longer van. A lot of our guys, because of the amount of cabinet work that we do, prefer bigger. So they'll go with a full or partially wrapped truck and then a wrapped trailer, or they'll do a full size or 14-foot or 15-foot box truck that's fully wrapped. It's got a lift gate on the back of it. And you don't have to have a forklift at your facility to unload cabinets. Those can get delivered that way. Or a lot of our guys will just schedule their installations for cabinets based on when the delivery of the cabinets are coming to the local terminal. So if we shipped FedEx Freight or one of the other freight lines, they've got a local terminal, they'll load it on the back of your trailer or van for you. So, and they'll hold it for 3 or 4 days. And so it gets delivered on Monday, you schedule the install Wednesday, you go pick it up and drive straight to the person's house. So you don't even really have to bring that to your warehouse or shop. So there's a lot of flexibility. They all look and feel the same, so that you know who you're dealing with and who you're working with. But
it's still all branded, which again is massive. And just as you talked about, like, and I don't know that I even would have thought of that, like, oh, it gets shipped and it's at the FedEx stand or the UPS or wherever. And if you've never actually been to one of those facilities, at least you literally just drive up and they're like, you probably borderline don't even have to get out, right? And they're not going to let you touch it because it's on their facility, right? And so, interesting. That's super cool. You mentioned the call center earlier, which is incredibly impactful because as an owner, you're running around talking, like shaking hands, kissing babies. Oh, I can't kiss the baby, then my phone ring. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Let me grab that, or it's a rush, and it becomes a huge differentiator because the quote competition, the mom and pops that are out there trying to do this, their call center is this. It's their phone, right? Sure. Versus maybe they answer, maybe they don't, maybe they catch the voicemail, maybe they don't. Versus somebody calls Garage Experts, no matter where in the country, there's somebody going, I'm guessing, hi, thanks for calling Garage Experts. This is Tim. How can I help you today? Right? Like, that was my audition for a job, by the way, if you guys are hiring.
We might not be able to afford you, Tim, but if you're looking for it, then there's always opportunities.
But that's massive, like, off your plate as an owner, and then it's just like next thing you know, like, oh, I got a consultation tomorrow at 2:00. I didn't have to do anything for that.
The single most important thing now when it comes to leads is, we call it speed to lead. When a lead comes in, somebody is interested right then. Like they were searching, they were going to Google or even going to chat these days and saying, hey, who's the best garage coatings company or garage storage company out there? When they fill out a form or they pick up the phone and call, answer the phone, solve the problem, which is, yes, we can come out, right? And so it's not even how you answer on a cell phone, like you said, or whatever else. It's where you are. Are you driving down the highway and you can hear it's on Bluetooth, and you don't even have your schedule in front of you. You can't address the customer's needs, and you're asking, oh, is this your cell phone number? Can I text you or call you back? And it's just not professional. So we've just recently this year switched our CRM over, basically the tool that our franchisees use to schedule and bid jobs and invoice out of. That's allowed our call center, no matter where they're calling from, to be able to pull up their availability, book the appointments on the schedule for our franchisees. And the next piece of this is we're going to online scheduling as well. So customers don't even have to call us anymore. They'll be able to click a button on the website. Or if they fill out a form, get a text message and say, hey, if you're as excited as we are, click right here and book your own appointment. And so once you capture that, they're so far less likely to go try to find somebody else.
They're done. We're busy, right? My task was I got to figure out who's going to come make this awesome garage for me. You answered, you booked the thing. I'm done. I'm on to the next thing. Right. So
if the appointment itself is a disaster when you show up, maybe they're going to go somewhere else. But if you're professional and show up on time and communicate well with them and provide value for a fair price, like, you're done.
You're showing up on time. You're uniformed, right? We're logoed up. We got a wrapped vehicle that we're probably rolling up in there, and again, it's just the professionalism of what you're able to do, and again, obviously the training and support on. Well, geez, I don't know how to estimate this. That's probably, I don't know, day 2 of training, right? And so there's all of those things. That's where you got the whole system. If there's anything else, maybe support wise for owners that Garage Expert is doing that you're like, hey, I really want to make sure people know we also help them with this. What might that be?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier about this ratio of support to franchisees. We have 111 locations across the country, about mid 80s in terms of owners that own those locations. The support team is myself. There's a director of operations. There's 3 franchise business coaches. We have a technical expert that works on the manufacturing side that can address any questions they have. Our marketing team is 4 people deep for a single branded system. Yeah. I've got a dedicated systems and IT onboarding expert that's on my team. I mean, it's a really, really robust team. And it's not just about the people, it's about the experience. It's over 10 years of experience on the technical side. I have a franchise business coach who's owned a business in the garage coatings space before. I have a franchise business coach who has a deep, deep background in cabinets, whose parents owned a cabinet related business before. And so again, it's not just the people, it's the makeup of the team, how much experience they have. So if you're brand new and you get lucky enough to go do a bid on a giant airplane hangar, which we'll do coatings. It's not just garages. It's anywhere that has concrete that needs a coating. So it's patios and pool decks and literally airplane hangars and manufacturing facilities. You have people you can call, right? And it's take the pictures, take the measurements, do all these things, and we're going to help you build a quote. And then if you sell it, like, we'll figure out the back end of that. And whether and again, but when you have 111 locations, chances are there's somebody that's not that far away. They're always willing to help. It's the most helpful system of franchisees. And I think this can't be overstated. I've never seen anything like what we have here. The willingness of a franchisee to help their peer is unbelievable. I mean, the way the communication flows and the willingness to, send your guys to my business and let them work with my guys for a week, or you need help with a job. Oh, I've got some of that equipment. Just come over here and pick up the extra pail of poly and just get it. It's a really cool network of really just genuinely good people.
Nice. And you know this, not every franchise system has very collaborative owners. And there may be somebody that wants to be in a system that the owners are like, nah, just leave me alone. But the majority of the people part of the brand is the community aspect of it. And I don't think we ever talk nearly enough about the support you're going to get from other franchise owners in your system, because there's nobody that knows this better than them. They're out there dealing it, and you're going to go, I haven't ran across this. I'm sure somewhere in those 100 locations, somebody's like, yes, I've been there, done that. This is what happened. Like to again, kind of help you through everything. So that's fantastic. And I know you've been in a couple places where that was not remotely the case. And so I love that. And our team that we've had a couple of our FranCoach clients go through the process. One is a franchise owner now, but even to me, it's easy to see when people go through and look at a franchise and they become a franchise owner. That's fine. I actually get better feedback from the ones that don't move forward, right? It's like when they go, man, that was a great brand. I love talking to them. It just wasn't the right thing for me, right? Because this is an incredibly individualized and personalized thing. But everybody on our team for your staff and support, everything they've gone through, has just raved about it. And so again, I'm glad we were able to get on here and chat today a little bit about Garage Experts. I'm going to give you one last thing, because I know you are a busy man. You got, some harumphing to do around the office the rest of the day. But what's missing that we haven't talked about, that somebody out there is like we can give them one more nugget about Garage Experts? What's missing maybe for today you want to share?
It's not even necessarily just about Garage Experts. I think that, and this is something, again, this goes to me having been a franchisee before. You can trust when you come and you speak to somebody on my team that it's more important that you determine and we determine that this is right for you than it is you just want to own a business and we want to get you a license for a Garage Experts franchise. I tell people all the time, I like to sleep at night. And it doesn't do anybody any good to 6 months after you open a franchise to look back and go, man, this is not what I thought what that was. It's not what I thought it was going to be like. And so you can trust that here, like, we genuinely care about the individuals that come in. And I know everybody says that, and it's like beating a dead horse. But I tell you, I would rather have the right people in the right seats in the right businesses. And like you said, somebody said it's just not for me. that's the most amazing thing for me to hear, because I would rather that happen than, oh, this is great, I'm going to go make a lot of money and they're miserable. That doesn't do anybody good. And it hurts the culture that we have within our network. And everybody benefits from that positive culture that we have, and just the willingness of the franchisees to help out everybody else. So I would say that that's a big thing for me. It's a big thing for everybody in the building. We're privately owned. The founder of the company that founded the coatings company, the manufacturer that founded the franchise, is still involved in the business. His son and daughter are now actively in the business and leadership roles. It's going to be a second gen company. It's not going to go to private equity. There's something wrong with private equity, but I've been on both sides of this. It does change things. No matter how much you say, it does change things. And so it's a family run franchisor, franchising businesses to families. And there's something to be said for that. And it's just a really cool place to be.
Yep. No, I love that. And then I lied. I got one more thing for you, because you've been, you work for different brands, all different shapes and sizes, but you've also been a franchise owner, right? So somebody sitting out there listening, one of our 8 wonderful, loyal listeners, and they're going, geez, I don't know, like, what would be maybe a piece of advice you would give somebody even just kind of thinking about potentially owning a franchise?
Well, you did promise me there were at least 10 listeners, so I don't know if we can air this one now. You said 8 this time.
We are listening, so that's 10.
Oh, that's 10. You're right. That's perfect. Honestly, it's more about the people you're going into business with than it is the business you're going into. Do your research, find out, pull the layers back, ask the franchisees when you're evaluating the system, what's corporate like, right? Are they available when you need them? What kind of support are you getting from marketing, from operations, from all those things? That's probably the most important thing. And don't try to reinvent the wheel. I did that. I thought I was smart. Look, I was in my 20s. Like, I knew everything, right?
Clearly,
and so
at that point, we know
I was going to go into this thing, and I had all these grand ideas. And you know what? Some of them were okay, but it stunted my growth at the very beginning. If I had just believed in the system that was built, it's why you're doing a franchise, right? Proven systems, follow the model, and every market's a little different. And we encourage you to be a little bit creative in some of the stuff you do. Follow the system, but most importantly, before you sign on the dotted line and decided to do a franchise business, open a franchise business, just make sure it's with people that you want to do that with. And no, you're not their employee, but you are going into business with them. It's a 5 or 7 or 10 year agreement, and it needs to be with people that you feel good about. So take your time getting to know them before you make your decision.
Absolutely. This is such a people business. So I love all of that. So no, I appreciate it. I appreciate you kind of sharing that, and certainly your perspective as a franchise owner. Because we hear it all the time. There's always something. In fact, I tell our clients, when you're talking to an owner, like, get them to kind of tell you what they would do differently at the beginning. And that usually is them ratting themselves out on something that they've deviated from, right? It's almost like we talk to smart, successful people that are coming in to own franchises. And then the last piece of advice I always give them, I need you to be dumb at the start, right? Just smile and nod and say, yes, 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 sir. Yes, ma'am. Do what the hell they said. Otherwise, why are we in this system, right? And it will get you off to a faster start, and then use your brain and now see all the ways you can kind of like make it better locally for your team and all of those things. So, Mike, thank you so much for coming on and joining us today. Always good to talk to you, and love hearing about Garage Experts. So thank you so much.
I appreciate the offer and the opportunity, and look forward to the next time we get to talk.
Absolutely. Thank you, my friend.
See you.
Thanks again to Mike Mushinski, president of Garage Experts, for joining us today to talk about their brand. As always, we hope everything we do on the Franchising 101 podcast helps provide valuable insight into the amazing possibilities and all of the things you need to know about franchising and franchise ownership. Please, if you haven't already, like, follow, share, subscribe, all of those things wherever you get our podcast, our social media, and don't forget about our YouTube channel. FranCoach for You is where you find all of our stuff, not just our podcast. Our team, you're going to find us when you're ready to chat, francoach.com. net. We got a cool little like redesign coming up on the website too. So like, you might want to mark your calendars for that at the end of this month. So that's awesome. But we are here. There's never, ever any fee for our service. So when you're ready to learn about franchise ownership to determine if it's for you, and if so, which one, reach out to us today. Let us help you create your better tomorrow. Thanks for joining us, folks. We'll talk with you next week.